Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene. Rewind that scene.
I'm Mike Rizzo.
I'm Brian Bonds.
And this is the Rewind That Scene
Podcast. Yeah.
A podcast where we go back in time and talk about our favorite 90s, 80s, 2000 movies that we grew up on, watching on our parents' old-ass tube TV, eating popcorn and nachos and all this fun stuff where we would like remake the movies with our camcorders and try to be all cool and like Brooklyn kids, you know, like doing like art and stuff.
Appa-dappa-dooey way, babe. I love you, brother.
Yeah, appa-dappa-dooey. So, we get, for the new listeners, we get new perspectives from these actors, crew members, directors, writers, cinematographers, editors. We talk to everybody. We don't discriminate. We even talk to people's cousins, brothers-in-laws, sisters-in-laws, doctors, legal aides, orthodontists.
Uh-huh.
I mean, everybody, right? If you're a part of that set, we're going to talk to you.
I mean, how did this movie get made, brother? Tell us what movie we're talking about tonight. The Chicago
Adventures
Anthem.
in Babysitting. And we got the one and only Keith Coogan, a guy that we latched onto for playing Brad. Beautiful guy in this movie.
I love Brad. And also, I'm just saying, Riz, before we even dive in, we had a very, very big crush on Chris Parker, a.k.a. Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, my God.
You can also
Elizabeth
see her in
Shue. Yeah,
Boys.
We've always
Yeah.
liked her a lot. Yeah, she's amazing.
And I do not like Bradley, who played Mike, the boyfriend. He's an asshole.
Why is he such a douche?
He said he voted for Obama in fucking that movie that Jordan Peele did called, you know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even have to get there. He plays so good, well casted. But Keith Coogan is an iconic person throughout the universe.
Yeah.
The best. I mean, he's been in so many good movies. Keith, come on.
Just come on down already, Keith.
You're the best, man. We love you. Every film and show you've been in and what you're doing now. What was it like just getting that script and that part and your initial thoughts on getting into the process of pre-production?
Wow. For Adventures in Babysitting, I had been trying for movie parts, not TV, for 8 years at least before I got Adventures. I went up for The Shining and E.T. and Goonies and Gremlins and Stand By Me and Christmas Story and The Toy and Lucas and Dream a Little Dream and
Oh, my God.
License to Drive, and you go up for everything. I get the script for Adventures of Babysitting, and I'm like, okay, another movie. But this time I had studied. For the first time, I had taken not acting classes, but in high school, I had a high school theater director. And Dr. Frank X. Ford, he was a double PhD. And so I thought this guy could help me kind of bridge the gap from being a TV, kind of hammy, kind of muggy. I borrowed from my grandfather's like silent days. Ooh, wow. You know, big eyes and film required, just think it. And the camera sees it. So, and I still get casting directors are always like, bring it down. Just do less. I'm like, I can't do less. I'm Keith. This is what I do. I see plenty of actors now on screen and they're like, they're so big. They're so broad.
Right.
Like, bullshit. Let me do my thing. When I got Adventures of Babysitting, it was a series of auditions. The first one with the casting, and you went into their office on Beverly Boulevard in LA. What's the Colin Farrell movie? Tigerland. Up on the roof. There's like a pool. There's this ex-child actors secret society. And they're confessing if they saw me at an audition, they're like, oh, crap, Keith's here. But anytime I walked in, I saw River Phoenix, Christian Slater, or Corey Haim. I was like, oh, shit. Because they were better actors than me. So, I'd been up for them before and stuff, and I didn't get Real Genius and stuff. I read for Mitch in Real Genius. And here we get, I'm very Brad-like. And I was like, what's the objective pine on the Pretty Babysitter? And, nobody's been cast. Nobody knows who's in it. You do a callback. And then they said, we're going to do mix and match. Oh, what's that? We're going to bring in 2 or 3 of every character. And then we're just going to do rounds and swap you guys out and see what the chemistry is. Wow. So you're in the room with these guys that you've already lost out on parts, but beat some out on. You're like, what, whose part is this that this is going to be this time? So you're also working on, you're seeing who they're favoriting. They keep using the same little sister. You know what? Run the lines with her. Let's get into her game. I brought a Apple IIc, the portable Apple. You know, the schools had the big 2Es, which are the gray towers, but this was had a keyboard with a handle and like a little 13-inch deep CRT with a handle. It was like, you know, very heavy, but I brought that and I set it up in the waiting room of the casting office. And I put Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson 1-on-1. And they all rushed to the game and I ran into the corner and studied my lines. Distraction. We call it a ball of confusion. If you can just kind of throw everybody off their game. So we get to the screen tests and they're shooting with the Panavision camera. I watched Valerie Bertinelli and Phoebe Cates and Elizabeth Shue all read the door scene with Bradley Whitford. I mean, I had seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, so I was rooting for Phoebe Cates. I gotta be honest.
Wow.
And there was one point where me and Anthony Rapp read for opposite characters. So I read for Daryl, Anthony Rapp read for Brad.
Wow.
Oh.
And we rehearsed in the hallway and then we went in and we did it like a couple of times and they went, okay, switch back. It's down to the wire and then you get the call. Boom, you're going. Here's the schedule. Here's the script. Here's the new pages. So we go to rehearsals. At the end of December, we did 2 weeks of rehearsals in Toronto.
Wow.
During those 2 weeks, we did improv. We worked the scenes out. Chris Columbus said, I think it was a Preston Sturges quote, a movie's got to have 3 good scenes and no bad ones. And he just cut the good ones together, you know, a bunch of just scene by scene. He said, make it real. You guys there's crazy stuff happening around you. You're just kids, you know, from the suburbs. And we knew we were ripping off and walking close to Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
So many tropes that were like line for line. You know, if I see you around, you know, school and you ignore me as usual, that's okay. You know, that was like right out of Breakfast Club. Like literally, I think Anthony Michael Hall said that. David Simpkins, the writer, funny, even though he wrote Buffy, Angel, Warehouse 13, and showrunner on that, Briscoe County Jr., his only feature film is Adventures in Babysitter.
Oh,
wow.
And it's got a darkness. He plays one of the frat guy parties who goes, aren't you Miss March? That's the writer.
What a cameo.
Yeah.
So while we're doing it, it was the 4 of us and the script supervisor and Chris Columbus, who was a kid. He doesn't talk down to kids. He is a kid. So he just jumps in and is really energetic. And he's like, here's what I want. You know, let's do that. No, less of that, more of that, whatever. But he didn't really direct us. He encouraged us to believe it more. As we're going, we're writing scenes. Oh, Calvin Levels came out and we do in the car with the car thief and we're throwing out stuff. And I said, could you drop us off at a mall? During rehearsals, you can find stuff and then you write it down. It goes in the script and then you get a pink page and then it's part of the script. And then everyone knows in the shot list, the storyboards, this line, we're going to get this line. You don't wing it on the set, not with film. 2 takes, 3, and people get nervous. And we even had a signifier. If we got to take 4, the script supervisor called it Thor. So instead of 2 is up, 3 is up, she'd go, Thor is up. And we'd know, better nail it because we got to move on.
Right.
I said, can you drop us off at a mall or something? And Calvin Levels turns back and he goes, where do you think we at? Boise, Idaho?
Yeah.
Turns out, this is how smart Calvin is. The first mall in the United States of America was in Boise, Idaho. What?
That's crazy.
And of course, he played Busquet in Biopic. He was in Johnny Suede with Brad Pitt. This guy's got great credits. He's just this warm spirit and so loving. And we're like, we could never be scared of Joe Gibb. He was really, really wonderful. And there was another line he improvised. This neighborhood, shit. I wouldn't get out of the car in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, that scene just is so good. I remember like seeing it. We rewatched it. It's just such a good scene, you guys, with him in the car, man.
And also the John Ford Noonan stuff in the pickup truck with handsome John Pruitt. We shot the cab of that truck with 5 people in the front bench of that. It's a big wrecker, so it tows tow trucks.
Oh,
Holy shit.
It's
Yeah.
more visual on screen. That is a big, heavy duty record lifter. And he's a sweetheart. He's a playwright. A couple of white chicks sitting around talking. The day they shot John Lennon. He has a couple of plays that he's quite crazy. He plays Ben Stiller's dad's friend in the one where he goes on the road trip looking for his dad. And the dad's like a truck driver. And there's John Pruitt from Adventures of Babysitting. So he was crazy. He whistles this tune. And Michael Kamen, the music supervisor, put it into the soundtrack. So he goes, da 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 da.
You're right.
And he goes, I stole that from M. What the murderer whistles when he goes and murders the children. And I'm like, oh, this is great.
Wow. What a detail.
So,
Oh my God.
That's the fun little thing. And they changed Chicago last minute. They go, we're going to do Chicago. And Chris Columbus gets with David Simpson and he goes, hey, you got to Chicago this up. He goes, what does that mean? He goes, like the Loop, the River Walk, a blues bar. He goes, what do you mean a blues bar? He goes, I don't know. They got to sing a blues song. He goes, wow, what do you mean they got to sing a blues song? I don't know. Figure it out. So 30 days go by, they get another draft, and he goes, hey, did you figure out the blues bar scene? And he goes, no, I don't. How am I supposed to make them sing the blues? And Chris Columbus goes, I don't know, like it's a house rule. Like, you can't leave the place without singing the blues.
Yeah.
David Simpkins, like, got it. So, like, those things are created as you go, but then they're locked down on the day of shooting. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
What
that
was that
scene
So
is
then we
memorable.
started-
So memorable. Yeah.
With
that
Albert
scene.
Collins, man. That was insane.
We took a little break and came back like January 3rd and started shooting 2 months in Toronto, 2 weeks in Chicago, and a week in LA for special effects.
Wow,
The special effects were shot on the same soundstage that did Outland, Stand By Me, The Fugitive. There was a brief 5-year period where this effects company did front projection, kind of like Kubrick's 2001. So the screen is a space material like road reflectors that reflects the light right back into its source. And they put a 45-degree one-way mirror in front of the camera and then project your background plate. So the camera is the projector.
Yeah.
And then the actors' clothes and makeup don't reflect the projection. And instantly, no matte lines, no process, no blue screen. In dailies next day, you could cut it into the picture. And we did that for hanging on the building scenes and a scene a scene or two where we're walking on the rafters above the chop shop. There's a shot where we're by the side of the road. She goes, come on, these little kids by the side of the road or whatever with the flat tire. And we look back and we're just sitting there looking miserable. We're like, oh God, we're kind of cold and it's helpless. And that was shot on the soundstage at Poinsettia in Santa Monica in Hollywood. In the scene where we come home, finally burst in and we've got Brenda. We've rescued Penelope Ann Miller.
Yeah.
And we come in and she goes, Brenda, go home. You put your pajama on, go upstairs. And she starts cleaning up. If you look, it's just a little 4x4 cutout of Dubatine. It was broad daylight when we shot it. So they put up a tent. There's nothing there. They open the door. If you look on a good TV or the new, like the Blu-ray or whatever, you go, oh my God, it's literally just like Dubatine set up behind the door.
That's so great.
We love these little nuggets, man. This is the shit we love.
I mean, they don't make movies like this anymore. And literally the way you precisely broke that down is amazing. Like,
You pretty much hit everything we were going to ask you.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
Yep.
So if I said Brad and Sarah and Daryl and Chris Parker and Dawson's Garage, and I said Mikey and Data and Chunk, and I said Atreyu and Bastion, and if I said these names, instantly you remember the movie, the plot, the characters, their wants, their needs, their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a time travel movie that came out in the 80s. Michael J. Fox starred as, what's his name? Thank you, Marty McFly. There was another time travel movie that came out recently on Amazon Prime, starring Chris Pratt. It was called The Tomorrow War. And they claim more people had streamed The Tomorrow War than had watched the original Back to the Futures in theaters. And I'll give you guys $100 if you can name Chris Pratt's character from Tomorrow War without Googling it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no, we can't. But I do like Chris Pratt's current state of, but you're right.
I can't.
I haven't even
It's Dan something.
No, it's not.
Daniel.
Look it up and you'll go. And even it's the daughter. It's a plot point because they have the same last name. and you're supposed to catch it during like the second act or like the first act turn, it slips right by you because I don't care about this guy's name. I mean,
Yeah.
he's having trouble with his mortgage. Okay, that I can identify with.
Yeah, right. Oh man,
got a bad job history, preventing him from getting more jobs and a promotion. That I can fucking totally identify with.
I don't want to get into like, too many other roles. Obviously, like Don't Tell Mom is like,
Yeah, that's another one.
You're so the opposite character.
Oh.
You really like know how to go from one character to another, and you're different in both movies and all the roles you do. Obviously, that's what actors do. But I really think that with all these amazing co-stars and being the big brother in a lot of these movies, you fucking crushed it.
Totally was the brother, the best
you're
friend,
fucking lucky,
the cousin.
Yeah.
They have like a lot of dialogue in the first 10 pages, mostly exposition. It's fast and quick, and then he kind of disappears in the second act. Yeah, that's Keith's role. And I love it because I kind of knew my groove. Support the lead, support the story, to entertain the audience. And you can't steal a picture if you're in every scene. If you're the lead, you can't steal it from, So I really love doing that. I got cast in Cousins. They told me we would have paid you twice what your agent got you. And I go, what? I go, they're at the rap party. I go, you don't tell an actor that. And they go, do you know why you got the part of Mitch in Cousins? I go, no. They go, you weren't the best Mitch. I went, whoa. They said, you made Ted Danson the best when you read with him. So I went, oh, and that's what I love being a character actor, because I'm not worried about me. I really am trying to feed them and surprise them, make them listen, change a word here. And I love to get to know my cast, because it used to take 3 months to make a movie. You're all in a hotel together, you eat together, you get to know them and their idiosyncrasies, their buttons you could push. Inside jokes. Every once in a while, lines line up. Like Corey Haim was always late, so I could say, you're late on camera. And I'm looking at just Corey going, you're late, fucker. But Don't Tell Mom I did not want to repeat the Brad in love with the babysitter, the nerd, the geek. The brother in love with the babysitter. So I had originally been up for the Josh Charles role, and I kind of documented floating the idea to my agent, and he shut me down. He goes, "You're too old." And I was 20, and Kenny's supposed to be 15, and so I prepared for the clown dog boy, and I also had put the wig and a skull vest and torn jeans and a little Kenny bag in the car. I put that in the car. I go in, and it's Sharon Bialy casting, and I go in and I read for the part, and the producers are there, Stephen Herrick and Brian Riley, Bobby Newmeyer, casting, and I read for the clown dog boy, and it was mid. So I leave the room, and at the door, Sharon Bialy's like, "Thanks for coming in." And I go, "Sharon, can I come back in a minute and show you something?" And she goes, "Sure." And I went out to the car and I changed, and by the time I came back in, they'd shifted over, because my grandfather always said, "Be first or last in the room." So when they're scheduling the in-room auditions, they say they have 1 to 4. And I go, I'll take the 4. Because I know I'll be the last one in the room, and I can then just knock out the memory of everybody else before. Or you go in first. I'll take the 1 spot. Then you're the first one you see, and you've set the bar, and everyone has to hit it. And we're still on Keith. Nah, this guy didn't cut it. So I went last for Brian. And then I came back in passing Skull, Lizard, Hellhound, Mole, all the guys that played my best friend. What they were doing is they were reading for Kenny, and then if you didn't get Kenny, you became one of Kenny's friends. And they also had Edward Furlong was the pick, but Terminator 2 was the conflict. So I went in with the wig and the thing, and I kicked in the door. Producers there, and all right, who's in charge? Let's do this. And I blacked out, went in character, became Kenny. There was nothing to support with Christina. We were friends from before Don't Tell Mom for several years, little community of kids running around Hollywood kind of a thing. As we get on set, morning, how you doing? Good to see you. There's no like getting to know somebody. You get right to the work. What are we doing? Scene 42. Okay. So I'll come in, I'll do a double thing. All right. I'll do a 23B. All right. You do 17A, which is like comedy terms of like, you just kind of talk in these terms of, you can't say it explicitly. You'll pop the balloon. Every single person in Don't Tell Mom has a fantastic characterization. To Bruce, head inventory clerk, to Kimmy Robertson as Kathy, so great.
Right.
everyone, Joanna Cassidy doing what she says now. She goes, despite doing work in like Under Fire and Blade Runner and Roger Rabbit, she goes, around the world, people are like, I'm right on top of that, Rose.
I feel like you probably like inspired each other too, right? Like all your like energy off, right?
Yeah, I argued with Joanna Cassidy because she goes, I hate these young actors today. They just think they got to win the scene. She was at an acting class or teaching acting class. And I said, well, of course they do. I go, comedy is aggression. Look at all the stories of like behind the scenes Saturday Night Live and stuff. I'm like, you have got to win. If you don't believe in your character and your point of view and you win that scene, what are you doing here? And so I think she hung up on me. But I love Joanna. We talk all the time because we had the remake, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yes, you're right.
Come out. There's
right.
2 in theaters, 1,000 theaters.
A few things. Is there anything like that you want to promote that you're working on now? Anything you're excited about? The fans would love to follow you.
You've got to go on, do the free week trial at BET Plus. Watch Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It is written by Chuck Hayward, who wrote Dear White People, Ted Lasso, and WandaVision. They said their question when they made the movie was, what's the difference between a white family living in the suburbs and a white cop comes to the door looking for a dead white babysitter in the freezer, and a black family living in the suburbs and a white cop comes to the door looking for a dead white babysitter? And it's a better film, honestly, because the director is a fan of like French New Wave, and he has all this unchained camera. He never used storyboards. He never had shot lists. It's so easy on a remake where you're doing it with half the budget and in half the schedule as the original. And you don't just shoot a dumb wide master and then do TV coverage. They never do that. And it kind of blew me away. And so when I saw the film for the first time, first, happy to not have my cameo cut out because I was very nervous about that. But second, it moved me. There's a scene where it's not in the original. And it's the family kind of comes together in the scene, and Kenny cooks for everybody. And it's really, really, really moving. So
I love that you're active. Like, people get discouraged in so many different ways or do different things. And I love that you're really like in love with what you've done in the past and still continue going, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some actors turn away from old work, or I don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to focus on that. And I think my headstone will be, here lies Keith Coogan. The dishes are done, man. And I'm so okay with that. Because my job as an actor since I was 20, or no, I was 21 when the movie came out. My job as an actor is to hustle my butt off and get more work until I get a part that has a better line, that's quoted better. That's a goal.
That is, yeah.
Unfortunately for my wife, it's not how much money I make a year at acting, but my spirit is fulfilled by doing like 2 jobs. I know. Thank you for supporting me. I do like 2 jobs a year, and I answer the phone. This is Keith Coogan. I'll do it as long as it's union. And I turn stuff to SAG and stuff. Just go do it. Go try. My grandfather said, just do it. Say yes to everything.
Yeah.
You can always back out or something, last minute. But, if it's bad, no one's going to see it. It's a line on the resume, and other actors are jealous that you're working. If it's good, great. Maybe you'll meet somebody. You don't know what.
You never know.
I worked hard. I got my work permit at 6 and union card at 6. Yeah, I definitely worked very hard all my life. And love it, because going to work, standing on the mark or standing on the stage, that's not the work. The work is getting work. It is staying late and handing out cards and glad handing and schmoozing and going and supporting other people's things. How do you get 100 people to show up for your show? You got to go to 100 one-man shows to fill that audience, because you were there for them. And it's hard. Everyone is competing against each other. Every waiter has an IMDb and a script in his car.
Right. That's true.
It is. There's 170,000 Screen Actors Guild actors. Maybe 5,000 to 8,000 speaking roles a year in film and television. So it's brutal out here. And I'm just happy that I still have an agent. I'm still going out. I read for Ford versus Ferrari and Babylon, Hollywoodland. And it was funny because it's not in room. All I had to do was slate, hi, Keith Coogan, do your scene. And I couldn't say, by the way, I'm Jackie Coogan's grandson. And my family knew all of these people in this scene. And we have stories that, and I can't say that to Jamie and Chazelle, because there's a good reason. There's a distance between us working stiff actors. and the creatives. Look at Sean Young. I love her. And honestly, any woman that doesn't dress up as Catwoman and stalk the director, they don't want the job, obviously.
What we do know is that nobody fucking messes with Keith Coogan.
That's what we fucking know.
No, it's on Disney Plus now. It's Don't Fool with the Babysitter. I'll fight with an actor on set, and we'll be going over a comedy bit, and he'll go, "You should," and I go, "Oh, whoa, you're stepping all over my dick."
That's a great term.
Listen. I go, "Hey, listen. I learned my comic timing from my grandfather, and he learned his from Chaplin. Let's try it my way, just once."
Yeah,
and that's I'll pull that card and. He has a street named after him across Sony Studios at the old MGM Studios. Mm-hmm. He has a labor law named after him that still protects every single minor that works in movies and TV. The Coogan Act, the Child Actor Bill, and protects their money, protects their hours, protects them. And that is a legacy that I'm very proud to be a part of that. And,
absolutely
want to spread their word. Moms that want to, show business, parents want to get their kids into show business. You're going to open a Coogan account. You're going to put 15% of their earnings aside, and then they get that when they're 18. And that's the end of it.
Yes! No one fucks with Keith Coogan.
Keith motherfucker Coogan. Best.
Man, that really made my whole life complete. Thank you, Keith. The one thing that, I just realized, dude, I wanted to ask him about the train sequence. When he stands up to the gang, dude?
Oh, that was so
kind
intense.
of a good scene, right?
I didn't even think about that.
The gang scene kind of reminded me of the Warriors.
And we should talk about the train. Maybe we need to dress like the characters in the train scene. In the train scene.
Dude, what about the highway scene with the hook arm, dude? It's fucking awkward as hell, right? It's
you can't fuck with John Pruitt.
Oh,
God. Also, you got in this movie, you got Vincent D'Onofrio
as Thor. Is he
Thor? As a blonde Thor. Yeah. He's beautiful.
Great.
He looks great.
He's a beautiful man, right?
Also, the mob boss's face, John Davis Chandler.
I know.
And there's a lot of good characters, and the blues scene is the best.
Yeah.
I wonder how they did that. Do you think
your dad's obsessed with blues, right?
Oh, it's the best. And they had to do the Babysitter blues.
Yeah. What was the line? No one leaves you without singing the blues.
That was great.
And then the guys get stuck, right? They exit out. The guys get stuck.
Yeah. Think they recorded that song in the studio?
I know, because they were actually singing it, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. They had to pre-record it, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
I isolated the vocals and just listened to Elizabeth Shue singing that every night.
I can tell you study the Elizabeth's voice, right? You study it. I know
After Palmetto, I don't talk about anything. I don't talk about anything.
I forgot about Palmetto. That's a good
I don't talk
one.
about anything.
Oh.
Call me.
I love that he got into his whole grandfather.
Call me.
Jackie Coogan history, dude. I love that too. That's so special.
Dude, Jackie Coogan is historic, man.
Yeah, he's an historical figure right there.
And he, Keith is like, you heard him, man. He's like the best.
Yeah.
True Hollywood. It goes down from one generation to another.
Yep.
And I love that he's even been involved with the remake of Don't Tell Mom, the Babysitters. That there's a lot going on.
Also, I also really love how much he gave us about the perspective from his acting point of view with let me do the comedy time. The way the actors are supporting each other and figuring out what's best for the scene and what the chemistry and, how he was saying he's okay to be supporting because that was also part of what an actor's role is, right?
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
It's important.
As always, thank you everyone for listening. I think me and Baby Bon are going to go to bed. Right now because it's 2 a.m. We're about to pass out, but we love you guys.
We do love you.
At Bobo Touch on social media, and stay tuned for the next one, guys. Thank you for listening. We love you.
We think you're the best. And
don't
also,
fuck with Keith.
It's true. Sorry, Ed Furlong, that you didn't get the role.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. We love you, Keith Coogan. Peace.
Bye.